Hello and welcome to this Odoo Experience 2020 talk. The topic, the topic is second unit job measure. My name is Nadal. I am from Spain and I am a computer engineer. I work in the braintec-group. Braintec is an Odoo Gold Partner Swiss company, and this year we're happy because we are celebrating our 20th anniversary. In this presentation, first I will explain what are second units of measure and why we need them. Then I'll explain a bit how we have implemented this solution, um, and then I'll show it in a live demo so you can better understand how it works. Finally, I will be answering some questions that you might ask. So second unit of measure, we all know that Odoo provides us by default with a set of units of measure, but in some cases they are not enough for some needs. Second units of measure is just another set of units that go by side of the default one and will help us, as we will see now. So why? Um, in companies that buy and sell products that that are in the food industry, for example, and these products first they might change their weight over time. So from the time that you buy something, the time you receive it, you process it and sell it again, and also that the client received it, they might change. For example, if you buy a cheese, this cheese will start losing time. I will start losing weight, and we need to reflect that in our system because you buy a cheese that weighs 10 kilos, and when you want to sell it, you realize that this cheese only weighs 9.5 kilograms, for example. And the other need that we want to that we saw is that normally in the food industry, products are sold in boxes of, for example, 5 kilograms. Imagine that you buy 5 boxes of 10 kilograms each, but when you weigh each of them, you realize that one box might weigh 9.75 kilos, the other box might weigh 10.20 kilograms. So we needed also to know that and to take that in mind and reflect it in our system. Um, Also, this requirement might be needed in the purchases, but not in sales, or the other way around. Or we need you buy in kilos, but then we sell in boxes. And during our inventory, when we move product from one place to another, one warehouse or one location to another, we also need to reflect that. And finally, invoicing, that's normally always done in this case in kilos, but it's also possible that some clients want the invoice in boxes. So a modular solution. We have tried to separate all our parts in different modules, so each client can install just what it needs, and also because we want to make sure that the same system can be used in as many possible as many places as possible, and with the less customization needed for the client. Um, to achieve that, for sure, we need to know at every time we need to be sure what we have in stock in each place, and that's why we need to keep track of these in the case of boxes, how much it weighs every time in every place that we when we move it around. And also, well, and we provide a set of settings that, for example, we can we can set that the conversion of boxes is done automatically. That one box is 5 kilos, and we in one part of our system, and it's always 5 kilos. Or maybe we want to let the user write it down. So so a box of 5 kilos might be 4.75. Um, well, now is the time that I will show how the system works in real with real products or and, and so here we go again. We have a quite clean installation of Odoo with just the the required apps installed, like sales, purchases, inventory, and invoicing. Of course, also our our system is installed. Let's check one of our products to see how are they set. I will be using for this presentation beef because it's very very standard to to standard product. And remember that as an example, we can also think about when we buy beef in a supermarket that we have boxes or packages that they nearly never weigh the same. And you pay by the kilo, but the boxes are 4.55, then 4.35, 5.05, and so on. So in this case, it will be something similar. As the main unit of measure, we see here it's kilograms. And the main purchase unit of measure will be kilograms also. But down here we have the unit of measure that we created in our system. As you see, for the second unit of measure in purchases, we'll be using boxes of 15 kilos. Also for the sales, in the sales unit of measure, the second unit of measure will be boxes of 15 kilos, as well as in the lots. For the incoming and or outgoing transfers, vendor, these are for the movements around stock, the stock movements. And of course, for the vendor bills and customer invoices, that's nearly always the clients want to use kilos. At the end of the day, you pay in kilos or you buy in kilos. It's important to note also that for in our system we need to use that as tracking by lots. And we thought that well, in this case for our clients, all of them wanted to use lots, so it was okay to track them by lots, and all the system keeps traceability of the boxes and the weights in the lots. As a future improvement, we might implement it at the quant level. At the moment, we did it as it is because it was enough for us at this point of time, used lots. But in the future, we will be probably move to the quants as more clients and more requirements will appear. So let's go to the beginning. A company wants to buy beef. So it comes to the purchase app and create a purchase order. Any company, any vendor is okay for us. And let's search for beef. Here it is. And let's say we want to buy 1,000 kilos. As you see, the second unit of measure at this point is not editable, but we will be, that's when we receive the quantities, the boxes, is when we will write down how many boxes we received. That's because sometimes, or at least in our clients' needs, they don't know exactly how many boxes they are gonna receive. They ask for 1,000 kilos, and they might receive this in this case 66 boxes or 70 boxes, because as I said, these boxes have different weights. We can confirm the order and go to receive the product. Here we have the stock picking, and it's time to write. First, we need to create a lot. Number 12, it's fine to me. And as I said, here we can, well, sometimes you ask for 1,000, and and they cannot send 1,000 exactly, because they are in boxes and each box weighs different. So we let the user to write down, for example, that the real weight of the product they received is not 1,000, it's 95 kilos. And also the number of boxes. In this case, we're gonna say that we received 67 boxes. And confirm. We can validate now. We do not want a backorder in this case, because it's not that we have less processed products than the demand, is because the demand is not exact. So we don't want a backorder. We have just received the product, so we can come to the inventory and check if how it's been received. So the number 12 is our lot, and as you see, we have 995 kilos in 67 boxes. It's important to know where these boxes are at all times, so we can retrieve the quantities and see how many we have. As we see, we have that in input. At this point, maybe I can say that this system works for one step, two steps, or three steps for the purchases and for sales. In this case, we are using just one step, but it also supports more steps. So that's why we have stock and input too. We can see the inventory valuation also for the beef. I already bought some before this demo, so we have a lot in inventory. And let's create a sale order now. You can select any customer. Let's find beef. And let's say that we want to sell 60 boxes. 60 kilos, sorry. As you see, the second unit to measure, 60 kilos are 4 boxes of 15 kilos. Confirm the sale order. And we can now deliver our beef. In this step, we can also modify. Well, first we need to select the lot that we want to use, and in this point we can also select 60 or more or less, because from the time that we received it until we send it, it might also change, might or might not. In this case, we are gonna set the exact values. and validate. So now we can create an invoice for the customer. As I said, for the invoices, normally only kilos are needed, but in this case we show the quantities also, the second unit of measure, but this can be hidden. Normally, or sometimes the invoice is not needed, the second unit of measure. So now we could register payment. I think that's not needed for this presentation. And well, that's more or less all that I wanted to show. So thank you all for watching, and now is the time to let you ask some questions.
Hello, everybody. So thank you for attending the interesting presentation of Nadal regarding the second units of measure. So we are starting now the Q&A session. So the purpose is actually to answer to all of the questions you may have and that you would like to ask to Nadal regarding this specific topic. I can see in the chatter that we got a few questions, and Matt Fazola, who is the designer of the application, answered to most of them. So thank you, Matt, and hi from Belgium. What I can propose to you, Nadal, is that I have a few questions from my side that I would like to ask you. So if you can reply to them. So the first question that I would like to ask you is, when invoicing, what unit of measure uses the system?
Well, hello everybody, and thank you for joining this talk, and also thank you for Matt and all the other members of the team that have collaborated to making this project. And so, well, when invoicing, that's up to the customer to set whatever he wants to use. Like, each project, you can set the unit of measure you want to use as a base to calculate the price, and also the second unit of measure that they will have its own price or its own conversion, and so you can select whichever you want.
Okay. I have a question from Alejandro, who is asking where can I download this cool feature and how much does it cost?
Okay, so this feature has been implemented for a couple of clients that we have that I cannot say who they are because it's confidential. And so to download, you should contact BrainTech. You have my email here, or just contact any just in our webpage. So we could talk about it and also agree with how we can do it and so on.
Okay, what I can propose to Alejandro is that if he's interested by this cool feature, then at the end of this Q&A session, there will be a link that will appear in the chatter to enable you to join an extended Q&A session, and then you will have the possibility to directly talk to each other in face-to-face, virtual face-to-face, I will say, and then you can discuss about the feature in further details and how to download it then. Okay.
Perfect.
And normally this link will appear at the end of the Q&A session. So I have some other questions. It seems that we have a lot of coming questions. We have also a question. Can you also do an inventory adjustment in both units?
Yes, the inventory adjustment is done to both of the units at the same time. So you can you can check, you can do it. Um, that's implemented and that's working perfect. Yeah.
Perfectly. We have also a question from Jill, who is asking, can you have different purchase units for different vendors?
Yeah. Well, different for I guess that's for the same product because this system is based. You can set which units of measure you want to use for each product, just like the standard Odoo. So when you have if you have one product, you select one unit of measure and a second unit of measure for that product. In the case that you want the same product from two vendors and each of the vendors sells that product in different units of measure, they I guess the best would be to create two products and use each of the products for each one of that products for each vendor. Or,
Okay.
or for that.
Okay, I see. Another question from Mohamed. So he's wondering if we can set price list or record rules based on different unit of measures.
Yeah, sure. Um, yes, for sure. Price lists are completely supported, and and we can have our price list with our from vendors, and that's completely fine. Yeah.
Can the batches be seen on the customer's invoices?
Okay. Yeah, that's up to the client for sure. You can as I said in the presentation, this all this project is done in small modules that you can install or not. And if you add the the features for the invoicing, you can have them shown. You can have one, you can have the second, or you can have both at the same time. So yeah.
Okay. And what is it going to happen if one of the clients want a second unit of measure only for the purchases?
Well, similar question than the one before. So this project has been divided in small modules. So the better thing is to just take the parts that you want. In this case, purchases. So you install the purchasing part, and these units will only appear there. So when you create a purchase order, you in your sale order lines, you will have the unit, the standard unit of measure, and the second unit of measure, whichever you select for each one, and from that on, you will not have them, or at least you won't see it. So yeah.
And how do you know how many units of a product are in the system at each moment?
Well, we've done that as similar as possible as the standard do. So for that, you just need to do the same way as you want, as if you didn't have this. So every time you want to check, you will know both units at the same time. As I said, this is implemented for now only for lots and for but so if you have one lot, you will know how many units are in each lot each time.
Okay. Can you, Nadal, maybe provide to us an example of a successful collaboration you get locally as a partner?
Yeah, well, we cannot name clients, but we have
Sure.
these clients are related to the food industry because, as I said, food changes the weights over time, and also imagine you go to the supermarket and you buy a, a box of meat or one type of meat, and each box on the stand they don't weigh the same. So it happens the same for our clients. So that's why we needed this second unit to measure. So you get the batch, and each batch won't weigh the same. For the next time you buy it, it won't weigh the same, and also after 1 week they won't weigh the same batch. So that's the simplest example I can think of.
Of a successful story that you got and with a satisfied client at the end. Okay, wonderful.
Well,
Yeah, so last point, I have a comment from Mohamed who said, "You saved our life. Thank you for this update." So he seems to be really interested by it. So it's a good point. So we arrive at the end of the Q&A session. So time flies, so we don't have a lot of time. So as I mentioned previously, what I can propose to you, Nadal, right now is that in a few
yes.
seconds, you will have a link in the chatter with the Q&A extended session. So you can click on it, and all the attendees who would like to have further information regarding this module or some other modules you may have or may propose, they can join you to discuss with you then in further details.
Okay.
So yeah, I can see that Louise has a last question. Unfortunately, we will not have the time to discuss about this last question, Louise, in this Q&A session. But then you will got the link, which is just appearing now, and you can click on it and you can ask the question directly to Nadal in a video conference. So thank you everybody for your time, and thank you Nadal for this amazing presentation, and see you soon.